All right, we are now in record mode. So I am Carolyn, the host of the Women's Closet TV show and also the host of Conversation with Queens. So this morning, we have two queens that we're going to be talking to in reference to racial injustice that they have experienced, that they have lived with, and racial discrimination. So we have on here Miss Evelyn. Hi, Evelyn.
Hey guys.
How you doing?
I'm doing amazing this morning. I'm very blessed.
Yes. Yes. What is your nationality?
So my mother is Caucasian and my father is African American.
Okay. So tell me your very first time that you experienced a racial comment against you that made you aware that there was something different.
Well, pretty much my whole entire time when I was in elementary school, the kids, they did not understand about what race you are. You know, they wanted you to say either you are one thing or you're another thing. So they didn't understand that, you know, I'm Black and I'm white. So I would identify myself as other. You know, I would identify myself as other, but people, mostly the children, you know, children can be very, very mean. So they would always call me, you know, zebra since it's a black and white, or like newspaper, Oreo. Oreo was like a really, really good racial term. You know, you might not think that somebody's calling you Oreo is like a hurtful, nasty word, but for me it was, because they were just saying, you know, what, you know, they're pretty much saying I'm ugly. You know, what are you? You know, I'm just like you guys. You know, I was a child. I felt like I was getting pushed out from having my friends because of what I was.
Okay. Were the school officials involved?
The school officials were involved, but they just made it even harder for me because, for instance, one example is one day I was taking a standardized test, and back in the 1980s with the testing, you would fill in the little bubbles on the test. You would fill in the bubbles for your race and everything. So, you know, back then there was no option for multiracial. There was no option for biracial. It was either you're Black or you're white. So, and they did have other on there. So I would choose other. But the administration came back to me one day and told me that I had to erase the other and put Black because my father is Black. So I know you guys know about if you have one drop of Black, you're Black. That's how they consider it. And that's what I was being considered in the 1980s as a 6, 7, 8 years old little girl.
Right. And until they changed and added on more options on those forms, which was decades later, when they added other options, decades later. Have you experienced any discrimination in place of employment? Or
I won't say that I experienced any racism in employment because of the way that I look, that I get very, very confused. People are very, very confused about my race. They pretty much think that I'm Hispanic or Puerto Rican or Mexican or something like that. And you know, I'm so proud to be Black. I'm so proud of my father and who he is and what he stood for. So, you know, I do correct people and say, hey, you know, I'm Black and I'm white. So an example of that is I am a veteran of the United States Navy, and I was checking into my command, and one of the chiefs there, she was a racist. It was already going around when I reported that, you know, she was a racist. When I checked in, you know, she was showing me around, being really nice to me, giving me all the information I need for the job. And then at the end of our tour, she was saying, hey, you know, it's Hispanic Heritage Month this month. And I said, okay, thank you, you know, appreciate it. But, you know, I celebrate in February. And she was kind of, you know, saying, well, what's that? What's February? And when I let her know it's Black History Month, you know, she kind of got all up in her feelings. And then she did start treating me differently after that point. She really didn't talk to me that much. She didn't hang around me that much. So that was just a sign to show that everybody that was saying something about this lady was correct. But, you know, I appreciate, you know, everyone, all the Hispanics. I love everyone. So, I mean, I understand how they could get confused, but I'm proud of who I am.
what does it do to you on the emotional and mental side? You're still going through this today though, right?
I'm still going through this today.
What does it do to you emotionally and mentally to have to go through this all of your life?
I mean, you just feel like you don't belong anywhere, or they want you to pick a side, and you can't. There's no way possible that I will be able to pick a side. Or some people think that you have the white privilege, which right now it's like not a good time for people to be thinking that right now. It's time to be strong and to support, everyone, our brothers and sisters of color, of all colors, of all shades. I know you remember back in the days when they did, the paper bag test. If you're darker than this paper bag, you don't have a place here. You can't use this. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't use this. So, I mean, even now, people think like, oh, when I get pulled over, for instance, yeah, police officers might treat me a little differently, which that is incorrect. That's totally wrong for them to treat me differently than if they were to pull me over and I had a darker skin tone. So I do experience that as well, because my husband has a darker skin tone, and of course he's a male, so he gets treated differently than I do. And some people just always have so many comments about, your skin color, your hair, you think you're too good, or maybe you're not too good, you're not good enough. It just really hurts your confidence and your self-esteem, and feeling like you don't have a place with your Caucasian side. You don't have a place with your African American side. So, I mean, where do you stand? I mean, do us mixed race individuals need to just come together on our own and just come together on our own and be, powerful that we're biracial?
Yes. As your parents, because your mom is Caucasian and your dad is, you said it was African American, American Black. Have they, and I'm sure that they have they experienced any stares because they were together as a biracial couple?
My parents had it super hard, because in their relationship, when they got together, my father's parents didn't want to accept my mother because she was Caucasian, and my mother's parents didn't want to accept my father since he was Black. So they had it really, really hard back in the day. And so they just ended up leaving their families whatsoever. My mom was 13 years old, between, it's one of those times when you were young and you left your family. So she left when she was young and got with my father. And, they made it, they were together over 30 years. But another example is, when my mother would take me to the doctors, they would ask her, whose child is this, ma'am? And also, if you're biracial, some biracial children have spots on their skin called Mongolian spots. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much an example of a birthmark that you guys have on your skin. So doctors did not know what was going on. They actually accused my mother of child abuse at one point because I had the Mongolian spots on my bottom as a baby. And They would say, ma'am, we have to investigate you for child abuse. And whose child is this? And she would say, this is my child. I'm the mother. And she would just get all kinds of reactions.
It's hard. It's really hard on a mom, because when people see that the mother is a different shade than the child, people automatically assume that's not your baby.
Right.
Who do this baby belong to? That's what I experienced as a mom with my daughter. When we moved up here in the greater Northeast Philadelphia about, I'm gonna say 27 years ago, I went to the school to register her. Tara's shades lighter than me. She's like your shade. And when I registered her in, number one, they wanted to know, did I live up here? That was number one.
That was already discrimination right there. Trying to say, well, you ain't from up here.
Right. And then I'm bringing this light-skinned baby with me. They wanted to know, was I her nanny? I wasn't her nanny. And I had to prove that this is my child and I live up here. So I had to bring my mortgage papers to get her enrolled in the school. She was in the 2nd grade, and this Caucasian kid called her a racial name.
Mm.
Tara didn't know no color. She wasn't taught color until that day when this Caucasian kid brought it to her attention. When she came home and she told me, I had to ask, where did you learn that from?
Right.
And she said, this kid in school called me this name. I go up to the school, and at this time, they only had they had 3 blacks in this school. 2 were teachers, 1 was a counselor. I went to go see the counselor, and I told him what happened. And I said, I want to have a meeting with the parents because this child learned this from home.
Right.
And the counselor said, I can't do that. Because if I do that, they're going to abuse the kid. This is one of the kids that's constantly being beaten by the parents. But I will handle it. And I said, okay, if this kid calls my daughter this name again, I'm taking it to the district. And I'm filing a complaint with the police department. So a lot of things is learned from home when it comes to race. And I
Very
know
much so.
it did a lot of self-esteem and mental with Tara, like, well, mommy, why are you darker than me? So now I got to explain, because before she didn't know no color. All she knew was I was her mom.
Right. I mean, I have to do that with my daughter because, you know, my hair is less coarse. My hair is more, I would say, Caucasian, you know, from my mom. And, you
Right.
know, I have a daughter and she's more darker skinned and her hair is more coarse, probably like a 4C. You know, it gets dry. It's, you know, some people might tell her you don't have good hair, but baby, I let her know you have the best hair. Your hair is beautiful. You know, we put her hair in an afro when we're about to wash it, and we celebrate her. You know, we let her know that she's beautiful, and you don't need to be like anybody else. You don't need straight hair. You don't need that. You don't need to press your hair. You don't need any of that. You're beautiful.
Right, because it does something to a child's self-esteem. And it's better to embrace her now and let her know how beautiful she is, regardless of what other people say. Other than that, if she listens to other people, it's going to do some damage, self-esteem.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's hard to recover from. It may require some counseling because of what other people have said. So I get it. I get it. And Tara is going to share her experience. But before I shift to Tara, this is what I want to ask you. What would you say to the people who are black, or straight white, meaning they are not, and they don't have any type of direct bloodline with interracial couples or a biracial child? What would you say to those individuals that show discrimination? Because y'all get discriminated against a lot.
We do.
And the parents of biracial children get stares. In certain areas, I cannot go in unless I have Tara with me. And that's sad. It's really sad. It's certain areas in the area where I live in, I have to take her with me so I don't get the stares. And it's bad. They say, you know what? It's a pass. It's not a freaking pass. It's not a good, it's not a good pass anyway. Because they look at me and they look at her like, what's the relation? What's the combination here? And I'm her mom.
Right. So I would let people know that, hey, this is not the past right now. You guys are questioning, why Blacks are being infuriated, why, we're just trying so hard to express why I'm here, expressing to you that, I appreciate my Black side. I'm a strong Black woman, because they have been through so much. We have been through so much.
Mm-hmm.
We have been through so much. So you guys don't understand, the ones that are being racial nowadays, that same things are happening here in the 2020s than what's happening back in the past. Even though people are not having chains around their necks and getting whipped and being slaves, as far as you might think back in those days, it's totally switched around, and they're still slaves, but in a whole entirely different way.
Absolutely.
So, that's why people are still upset. And then with people passing away, for no reason, you're giving people a reason to just be sad. People are just sad. They're not angry. They're just sad, and we're fed up. We're fed up. And then it's hard for us as biracial, because, some people might want you to stand with the people that are being racist because of how they look, because
Mm-hmm.
they're white. And I can attest to that, because my grandfather on my mother's side was racist. He didn't want anything to do with me as a child at all. That's what I was told. I was told that he did not want to meet me. He didn't want anything to do with me. So of course you want to meet your grandparents. Grandparents are a very, very big part of a child's life. So at the age of 37 years old, I was told that he wanted to meet me. And I went and I met him. And, at 37 years old, I met him. I took my Black husband. I took my children, who I won't say that they're biracial, because they are more on the Black side, and we identified them as Black. So all of us went to go meet my grandfather, and I was feeling the vibe. I was making sure that I was not going to be uncomfortable. And it was a wonderful, wonderful visit. I am so blessed that, he was letting us know that he changed his mindset, and he was so sorry, and to not believe the stories that I was being told, and just to move forward at that point. He also has more biracial children in his family, so he pretty much had to accept that he was going to have this sort of blended family. So I'm so blessed that I have him and his wife, like in my life right now. So, but yeah, definitely, guys, please understand where people are coming from. Please understand that we don't feel accepted sometimes, that we don't know where to turn. People try to say that we're the ones that are confused, but we are not confused at all. I am not confused at all. I know exactly who I am and what blood runs through my body, and I will proudly say that I'm Black, and I'm proud.
Right.
No matter if they say you don't talk Black, you don't look Black, you don't act Black. That's what I am.
And you are. And you are. I'm going to try to get Tara on here. Let's see if this can work without making a whole lot of noise.
Should I use mine?
No, you, here. Ooh, there she go. Let's see.
Hey, girl.
Hi. Good morning. Yeah, excuse my scores from thing in here. Hold up. Frequency was high.
Yeah. No.
I'm going in.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Tara?
Yep.
So, Tara, meet Evelyn.
Hi, Evelyn. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm all right. Maintaining through this COVID and everything else that's going on.
So, Tara, I want you to share with Evelyn your experience when you were in comedy school and how you felt.
My experience was hard, and it was different because I got called a name in elementary school by a Caucasian kid. And then, as my mom said, I had actually brought her home and told her what the word was. And I actually felt out of place. I felt like I was adopted because I didn't see my mom darker than me. I didn't see me lighter than her. And she had explained that, you know, I was mixed with Hispanic and Black. And it was a lot to take in at that age, at that time.
Okay.
It was like really, really hard because like mine was the opposite. I was getting more of the strife from the Blacks in my school versus the whites. So the whites really didn't say much. I wouldn't say that they accepted me, but I would say more of the strife was coming from the Blacks because they would say, oh, you need to perm your hair. What's wrong with your hair? Are you not Black? You need to perm your hair. You need to do this. You can't dance, you know, just certain things, you know, they would just say, you know, I'm not accepted by them because of how I was and how I was naturally beautiful.
That hit me in middle school and high school. The group of girls that I was friends with in elementary school, we went to middle school and high school together. At that point, it's just like it happened so fast that they didn't, in middle school, they didn't like me because I was lighter than them. I had longer hair than they did. My last name was a Hispanic name, and then theirs wasn't. And then when I hit high school, that's when it became stronger. Not only was these school of girls, it was like all of the Black girls there that at a certain point they wanted to fight me like almost every single day, only because I was mixed or because of my hair, because I was lighter than them. They didn't believe that I was Black at all because of my last name is Perez. And when my mom had came up, they were made fun of me because my mom is darker than me. And it was a certain point, it was like, you know what? I can't control who I am because of you guys have insecurities. If I'm Black and Puerto Rican, then let me be. Like, I have no control of my parents' situation. But it seemed like you guys got a problem with it and y'all want to accept me for who I am. And these group of people I was friends with elementary school, and then somehow it was rumors spread around me through the entire school. So the majority of my high school career, I had all guy friends. I didn't have no Black friends that were girls.
Okay. Now, today, what are you going through as a biracial woman?
I get accepted by white people than I do Black people as of right now. I guess to them, they think that I'm mixed with white somewhere in my family, which is I'm not. So as of right now, Black people don't accept me being Black. They accept me as Puerto Rican, that's it. But as into a Caucasian eye, I get accepted by them because, like I said, I'm really light, so they think that I maybe have white somewhere.
Okay. Has there been a time that you applied for a job and didn't get it because of your race?
There's been a time that I had filled out an application and didn't pick Black or Hispanic. I always picked Hispanic ever since I started working to 16, only because I knew I would have picked Black, I wouldn't have got the job.
Okay. How did that make you feel that you had to do that?
It was tough it felt like I was denying the other side of me. I didn't. I was neglecting them, but at the same time, if you guys want to neglect me, then I really didn't care at a certain point.
Okay.
Because if you guys are going to accept me, why should I accept putting it down as me being Black and Hispanic?
Okay. What would you say to the people, and it's the same question I asked Evelyn, what would you say to the people who has no direct bloodline affiliation with a biracial couple or a biracial child? What message would you want to say to them to give them an eye opener that biracial people go through the same or different types of racial discrimination and racial inequalities? What would you say to people like that?
It's hard, and it's really hard, and it should be talked about because we get hit twice. We get hit by Black people, and we get hit sometimes by white people, depending on who we with. So if we with a group of Black people, we might get hit with them. But if I was by myself, I would be accepted. But I get hit harder with Black people, 100%.
Evelyn, would you say the same thing for you?
I would say that I got hit harder by the Black people. So
That's sad.
why, they always say, we don't support each other, we don't love each other. If we came together, we would be the most powerful beings on this earth, And if we can't even accept each other, our own brothers and sisters, then it's a big, big problem.
Yep.
It is. And I'm listening to the both of y'all, and both of y'all have this, when it comes to Black people, y'all get hit by the same Black people. So as a culture of American Blacks should come together and understand and not do the dividing thing and say, you know what, I don't like you because of your skin color. I don't like you because you got a good grade of hair. I don't like you because you're half white. I don't like you because you have Puerto Rican. I don't like you because you're half this, you're half that. They should come together and understand y'all go through it just as much as anybody else that's going through some type of discrimination. Would y'all agree?
Right.
Yeah.
Also, I would say, hey, let people identify on their own. Let people identify their race for themselves. Even as a child, let a child identify. If you have a biracial child, let the child identify for themselves. I know certain parents that will identify for their child and say, if they look more Caucasian, they'll say, oh no, you're white, baby, you're not Black, you're Caucasian, or very confusing the child at a young age.
Yep.
By trying to identify for them. Let this child experience both sides of their family, both sides of their heritage, both sides of their history. Let them know that yes, you are Black. Let them be proud to let them know they have Black in their history, in their background. Yes, you may not look like them, you may look different than them, but you have this in your blood. This is running through you. This is where you come from.
Right.
And for me, into my teens and part of my adult career, it was hard for me to accept Black people because of how I was treated. Only because it's you can't scream Black Lives Matter if you don't even like your own people. That I never understood that. I feel as though it's that all lives matter, only because I get raised upon on it against Black people, and it seemed like every time white and Black crime happens, that's when it becomes Black Lives Matter. But when Black on Black crime happen, it's like Black lives don't matter. So it's like you're kind of confusing how It really is.
Okay,
If that
and
makes sense.
that's from Black Americans. They
Yes.
make it confusing.
Yes.
Okay, between the both of you ladies, what would you suggest is a starting point to get people, Black Americans, to wake up and stop the discrimination against biracial people?
I think that they need to be more open-minded instead of narrow-minded. You cannot like someone because of how they look. And it's weird because if you is looked like that by white people and you're gonna turn around and do the same thing to a mixed person that is mixed with Black, you're just confused. I think they need to be more educated. I think they need to know how it feels to be on the other side. Because you have a group of Blacks and you have a group of whites and you have a group of mixed people at the same time. And then you have whites that don't like Blacks and Blacks that don't like whites. You start
And y'all are in the middle. Y'all are stuck in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
My advice would be for them to lead with love, you know, to have a more loving heart than a more judgmental heart. Because I feel like, you know, they have a more judgmental heart against someone that's of different color or looks different than them or may not look Black. You know, I can't judge. If I look at your daughter right now, I can't say what she is. I can't say,
Right.
oh, she's not Black or she's Hispanic or she's Puerto Rican or she's, just quit
Mhm.
judging each other for what they are and quit trying to assume what they are and just love them as a human being.
Yes.
Just come together and love one another.
Do you think that support groups, I don't even know if there is a biracial support group. There's a lot of support groups out there, but I don't know if there is a biracial support group for people who are biracial and to help them and to educate Caucasians, to educate other races, to educate Black Americans about what it's like to be biracial. Because they do
I think
need.
that would be amazing. That would be amazing to put out because, you know, even with just meeting you, you know, on Facebook and knowing that me and your daughter have the same type of story, you know, her telling how many women and children are going through this still now in this time.
Absolutely. Tara, do you have anything you want to say about that?
I think that it would be a good idea to have something like that so that it is talked about and so that people are educated, but it got to start somewhere. It can't stay the way it is. Otherwise, the next generation of biracial kids is going to hit them differently only because times is changing. Because I have a son that's biracial. I don't want him to go through what we going through, and it's 2020. And I think that would be great as well.
What I would like to do with you two ladies, Tara and Evelyn, I would like to see if we can get a support group going. So Evelyn, I will be reaching out to you sometime today and see if we can get the support groups going and started for individuals that are biracial so that y'all can have a platform, so that y'all can have biracial people can have a place to go to, because it can be very confusing. I heard y'all say y'all felt out of place because people made y'all feel out of place. To me, that's disheartening. It can be hurtful. It may not look like it's hurtful, but it can be hurtful that you not know your place until your parents or your mom or your dad sit you down and tell you, like, this is your place, regardless of what they say out there. This is where you are. This is who you are. So I think a support group for biracial individuals would be good. And I would love to help y'all get that started. Are y'all okay with that?
Mm-hmm. Evelyn?
Definitely. I think that's amazing. You know, I feel like me and Tara could come together and, you know, we could do some amazing things.
Okay, what I'll do is I'll connect you two together.
I have a question for Evelyn.
Okay.
Evelyn, because you were segregated against Black people, did your other side accept you for who you were?
As far as my dad's side, they loved me. They always accepted me. I don't think I ever had any sort of negative relationship with them. It was more like of a personal nature. That's another thing, like how if your parents aren't coming together, it's a whole different podcast for that. It's a whole different podcast for that situation.
Right.
They accepted me as far as my race goes. But
Okay.
even as far as my mom's side, other than, her dad saying that he didn't want anything to do with us, I had an amazing, amazing childhood with my family, both sides of my family. And I'm blessed for that.
Okay. I only asked that because my Hispanic side accept all of me and not half of me, unlike the Black side. They didn't accept me at all.
Mm.
And I'm closer to my Hispanic side than it is my mother's side. And I felt out of place on my mother's side of the family because for me, family's supposed to have your back, and teach you differently and tell you differently, where my mom had to tell me differently herself. And then my Hispanic side just accept me as, look, we love you. We love your mom. Like, until this day, my mom have a great relationship with my Hispanic side of the family. And it's when for me, when it comes from family, it hits you also differently. Because it's like, I'm getting out in the street. Like I gotta do it. Yeah, I gotta come here and deal with it too. So that's why I had a hard time dealing with not accepting, but acknowledging that I was Black. Because if I'm getting it from my family, then what am I supposed to do other than embrace my Hispanic side?
I can just sit here and just think of, there's a little girl out there in the world, and she is feeling the same exact way. And she's just lost out there, It's like, it's really, really sad to know, like, how we feel as we're grown. And we're still going through the traumas that we went through as a child. Even though, people might not think of it as, oh, you're all right. That's not, just move past it. And no, it is a trauma for us that we have to go through, that we have to accept it, that took our confidence away, and confidence is hard. Once you break that confidence, it's hard to build that back up.
Because even from family, from a child on to like a part of my adult life, I was called names too from family members on my mother's side. And for a very long time, I just distanced myself from them. And I just became closer to my Hispanic side. So I barely talk to them, and then I just stay with, to them, it's just like your home,
Right.
To Hispanic people, Black people and Hispanic, to them, are the same. In their eyes, Black people are Hispanic and Hispanic is Black. And that's just how they see it.
Right. But it's like, we have to come to an acceptance that we have to know that what they do and how they feel is not right. That's what we need to speak out about, is what they did by not accepting is not correct at all. And to know the effects of that. But to know that, guess what? It's their loss. They're losing out on knowing an amazing person and having a relationship with an amazing person over what? Over the color of your skin? Over what you are? That's horrible.
And then with my mom, she had got frowned upon people in our family because she stepped outside of her race. So me and my mom had it was just us for a long time until this day. It's just me and her. Even when we go to my side of the family, they accept her. They They embrace her. They still her family. They let her know that you can come by anytime.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, but it's just, I really wish that Black people would stop being narrow-minded and focus on all of it instead of black and white.
Because, you know, sometimes I really have to go all the way back and say, like, where would my place be if we were back in the slavery time? You know, you don't want to accept me now, but I mean, where would my place be? And my place would be, I would still would not be getting treated correctly. I still would not be getting treated right. I still wouldn't have my freedom. I still wouldn't have my rights. So just take it back and open your mind and understand that, you know.
I had someone actually tell me that. Yeah, someone actually told me that. It was a guy that I was talking to a while back, and he said that, you know, black and black racism came from slavery, you know, because the slave masters was raping the, you know, the black slaves, and because this baby was light skinned, the baby didn't have to work. The baby stayed inside. And that's where the root of it came from. Yep. That, you know, light skins stayed in the house while the all blacks worked.
And that's why they want to continue to pit, you know, light skin against dark skin. There's so many memes on the internet, you know, about so many men saying like what they would rather be with, what they would rather choose, you know, and it just keeps that going between the black community saying, oh, you think you're better, and the media portraying that as being such, and that's so incorrect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was with a guy when I was 18. He asked a question that kind of like threw me off because I didn't expect for him to say that. He said, if the blacks and Hispanics went to war, what side would you pick? And I'm like, wow, now I know not to take you around my family. Mm-hmm. Ever. And obviously that relationship didn't last because I'm not with him today at all. Like for you to ask me that was like out of pocket.
What I would like to do and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you two ladies together, and y'all could put a support group. All right. Hi. Y'all could put a support group together, and y'all could take it from there, and it'll be the biracial support group, because I really don't believe that there is a group out there for y'all. I don't.
I think this is the perfect time, Carolyn. This is the perfect time when we're getting all of this exposure.
Yes.
For Black Lives Matter, you know, our lives matter too.
Your lives do matter. Yes, they do. So I'm gonna reach Evelyn. I'll make sure that Tara get your information, and we'll do just the three of us, a conference call outside of TV and radio. Good enough, Tara? Are you okay with that?
I'm all right with that.
Are you available this evening, Evelyn? And Tara, are you available this evening?
Available. I gotta get my hair cut first.
Let's say about 8 o'clock tonight.
That's fine.
Okay. Y'all good with that?
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Evelyn, for being a part of a conversation with Queens. Thank you, Tara, for being a part of a conversation with Queens. And out of this conversation, we'll grow and build a biracial support group for other biracial people that are out there that are going through the same thing, to include children, because sometimes, as I heard with y'all, it started when y'all were little girls. So
thank you, Evelyn.
To this.
You're welcome.
Take care, ladies. Enjoy your weekend. Stay in. Okay. Bye-bye.